Welcome to this week's Behind the Poem. I've been thinking a lot lately about silence. I've been thinking about silence's many layers and impacts. So, for example, on one end of the spectrum, silence can be really beautiful and healing. I'm thinking about the times I sit in silence when I meditate, the things I can hear inside myself when I sit alone with nature and I'm silent, the things I can hear nature and the world tell me. I think about how potent and powerful it is to be silent, quiet, sit in silence with a loved one, how often that can be an indication of intimacy and connection with one another. And then I think about silence that is deadly, silence that is harmful. When we silence each other, and that causes harm both to the people feeling and experiencing the silencing and then those impacted by that silencing. What happens when we choose to be silent, and that can harm both ourselves and others. And so this thing, silence, that can be both so deadly and also so healing. What does it mean to honor silence responsibly? To know when it can heal and when it can quite literally kill. And so I've been thinking about this poem that I'm going to share today. Fifth Chakra. I wrote this many, many years ago. The silence is choking me, or rather you. I know. We were always loud-mouthed bullhorns preaching. I never meant to suffocate the opinions, the panic attacks, the bullying, the traumas. That was never our modus operandi before, I know. But would you believe the ripple effect? The way a pebble is no different than a boulder. The way it drops in the middle of a swimming pool, and oh, how the same radiance, equidistant from its neighbor, emanates from the centered vortex of the drop. Circles. How we've always gone in circles. Or possibly spirals. A cylinder capsized in the middle of a trenchant pile overrun with chlorine, I know. The way my mother bought shampoo specifically for post-chlorinated summer swims at my Jewish day camp. The way we all dressed up like Madonna to do an all-age group dance on Parents' Night, and I didn't really have a proper image in my mind because I figured out all of the cultural memes far later than everyone else. It's not that I'm naive. I have a brain too fast for my emotions, but I am always honest. I am always present with each emotion. It's not that I'm naive. I figure it out later, eventually, or at least after all the authentic lessons have settled into my deep tissue, waiting for a healer to elbow my abdomen. Takes me a while to know the intended pun is obvious, or that it was a pun altogether. For that, I cannot have remorse. What if I offered gratitude for the process? For the cylinder capsized in the middle of an over-chlorinated swimming pool, or even a loud-mouthed bullhorn? I quite like the way the shoe's tied. Looks like suffocating my toenails until looking up close. Like the antithesis of Monet, the traumas. They are suffocating toenails. I know. Look up. Closely. That was never our modus operandi. Before. Soak up the metaphors. Gather a gaggle. You don't always have to write nonfiction. I've been told, allegedly, they'll still hear you. Speak in whatever tongues the gospel pulls from your diaphragm. It doesn't matter what God feeds you scripture. It's still the same story, passed down from ages and ages hence. I know. I know. I know. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Sending love and liberation to all. Take care.